All right, time for another video. This one's going to be for the INDIO Public Safety Campus. These are going to be for the 3 directional monuments. Got all the letters out and all that. So we'll start chewing on these. So yeah, I'm calling them the ice cream sandwiches. We got 3 of them. I already kind of explained them, told you what's coming, but I want to go over a few things that's going to be not tricky. Just want to make sure you look out for them. That's all. But these should be pretty straightforward. They're non-illuminated, essentially blade signs attached to a side thing, or a main frame. So that being said, let's get after it. Let's start in on the lay of the land here. So speaking of main frame, 6 inches wide. You'll have one sheet will have all 3 frames. They're all the same jigs. The jigs are symmetrical, front and back, side to side, and all that. You'll have your faces for those. These are the main body faces. They'll have slots. These are not symmetrical. You kind of have a back and a street side. I'll go over that. You got your panel frames, essentially 3-inch deep blade signs. And you got your jigs. They are asymmetrical. You'll have a C channel on the face for stability. But otherwise, look out for those guys. And then you have your individual faces for the panels. It's fire department, you got popo, and you got the public safety. They are directional, so they're not equal. So you got to make sure you get the right one in the right spot. But the backers are the same for all of them. So it's just to cover it up, and then it's open in the back to give you access to the letters and stuff in the back. So it has plenty of access in the back there. So mounting tabs, I split the difference between the 09 and the quarter, even though it's not technically split equal. I figured the 09 would be a little too soft because when the panels are off during prep and things like that, these boxes will probably be set on their side, and I wanted to have the strength of the tab sticking out. Instead of going quarter, which means you have to kind of inset that a little bit, because trying to put a self-tapper or whatever through quarter is always a pain in the butt. So I chose 1/8. So look for these. You'll have 6 sets of these, so you have a lot of those. Look out for those. So since we got going on them kind of early and then late and whatever, and we've been waiting, we still don't have YJ calcs. So don't route these yet, but these basically will be what the Mjolnirs will look like. We're hoping they'll be 3x, but this might change and when we get the calcs. So route, if you're watching this and you want to use this to estimate material or whatever, fine, but definitely do not route these yet. And then we just have a booty load of flat cutout letters. So these are all 1/2 inch. Look out for all these guys here, and you'll have all these, and look out for reference kisses on the back of the parking symbol and all that. So, but lots of flat cutout letters. So keep those, keep an eye out for all that. So let's just get cracking on it. We'll start in with the main frame. Again, the main frame is essentially symmetrical, but because the panel is offset to one side, is going to be the street side. It kind of does lend itself to having a back and a street. So that's what I called it. So BCK will be anything that's to the back. And then anything that streets is the street side. That'll be the side that the panel is justified off. So that means that the mounting tabs and things all go this way to the street side. But otherwise, the parts are somewhat symmetrical. It's just where these slots go. So go ahead and build them out that way. The middles are symmetrical. It's just M. So those go in the middle. And then you have your middle tops, these little guys up here. And then that way, this part is one piece that goes across that does the main support for the weight of this. And then that brings it down to the bottom. So this will be one piece all the way down, gives us nice strength and supports this panel properly. And then it just makes the top kind of decorative. So you'll have your 2 MTs up top there. You'll have your, technically the top is symmetrical, but go ahead and, line up your back and your streets. But when you get here, obviously this is not symmetrical. You want to make sure that all your tabs are justified to the street side. That being said, here's your 1/8 inch pieces. You do have a skinny in the middle. The middle one had to be skinny because we had to have room for the flat cutout letters down here. So it kind of got in the, in the way of this thing. And, anyway, so this brace here caused the middle one to be skinny. Otherwise, you can choose to rivet these in if you want, because it's just 1/8. Or if you want to do your clecos and tack it, that's fine, however you want to do it. So you just want to work your way down. You'll have your middles, you have your street side and your back side, but I have M1, M2, M3. Those are your mids. So M1, M2, M3. And then you'll have your bottom, which is 1, 2, and 3. Those for sure have the slots in them for the tabs. So you have to pay attention which way's back, which way's street. So back to the back, BCK, BCK, and streets that way. So, and then again, you have the same tabs. You can either choose to rivet those in or tack them. So go ahead and build up your frames. Like I say, pretty straightforward. You'll have a mule nearing in there, like I say, but we'll be waiting on that because we're waiting on YJ. And then once this is built, go ahead and test fit. I have the slots cut out for the 1/8 inch. You want to make sure though, we are threading a very tight needle. You can see where just right here is only 0.50 distance between this slot and the top of the panel. So that way nobody sees this, thing. So when the panel goes on, right here, the panel, this is the 0.9 of the panel. It'll cover up that slot. So we're threading a needle. So make sure that you test fit these faces on there. Make sure there's no conflicts with these tabs. I tried to give you plenty of a wide open spot. But and then once that's done, there really isn't any access needed inside. So you can go ahead and seal these up. So you can knock out the 3 main frames, get those knocked out. We're good to go. And then again, when it comes time for the Mjolnirs, we're going to wait on the YJs. So I don't have a Look Edgar. I don't have a Looky Edgar cutlass or anything like that yet. So we're just hoping that we can keep it within 3 inch. Otherwise, we're going to have to, fatten this up, and I will have to change this a little bit. So again, waiting on that. But that doesn't keep you from building this. And then we're going to have our panels. So again, these are basically just blade signs. They are asymmetrical. So like I explained, this is a lot like the Agua Caliente museum kind of things where you'll have those, you have the tabs sticking out to help support this. So so they are asymmetrical. So make sure you get your face arrows facing towards the face. And then that way you have the slots in the back. That way because the mounting hardware is justified a little bit back. So you want to make sure that everything's lined up. The middle goes across here. And then you do have just a single C channel up to the front. And then that will help support. Because again, like I said, this is a bigger than you think. It's 4 feet by almost 6 feet. So it's kind of a big thing. So we want to make sure it's braced, get a good Lords on there. But I did keep the back open. So you'll see where the back skin has this big generous opening, because you got to be able to access all these flat cutout letters and nail them down properly. So I went ahead and left the back open, except obviously this part here. So, but anyway, should be good. So again, all of your jigs are the same front and back. It's just you will be adding this part for the front. And I say typical here because these middle brace ones, these greenish ones, are the same braces here. And they're really the only ones that are like this mid thing like we always see right in the middle there. So I did you a solid. Those are the same, interchangeable between these parts here. Otherwise, everything else is obviously custom for the job it's serving. So that'll take care of panels. Once you get the frames are all the same. They're not marked for fire department or anything like that. Once you get these made, you can go ahead and put a generic backer on and then just start putting faces on. So you'll have the 3 sets here. You've got FD for fire department. You've got Popo. And then you also have public safety for public safety services right here. So those are the 3 families. And then each arrow obviously points in a different direction. So that's the other thing, is just make sure that, again, the frame doesn't matter per se, but just make sure that, you got everything all lined up, everything's making sense. And that'll be more for install to make sure they have the arrows facing the right way. Now, when it comes to the flat cutout letters, because that's where we're on now. So obviously just get all this lordsed up, everything out to paint, we're good. Then when it comes back, it's going to be assembly time. It's going to be kind of a pain in the booty. So there's going to be a lot of flat cutout letters and a lot of screws. I went ahead and made a count. I brought in some more 5/16 and some more 1/4 inch. So again, don't do studs. You're just going to screw these on from the back. I wouldn't even do washers. Just knock it out. It's going to be, I did over stud. If you look at the Indio, you might laugh a little bit, like what the heck. But because this is Indio, I figured these would be high value targets for theft, even though it is going to be literally in front of the police department and all that. But these are going to be multi-process. So technically these are going to be kind of expensive when it comes to making these, because you're going to have a lot of paint, you're going to have a lot of Gerber mask, multi-step process. So I want to make sure that these letters here do not walk off, or, you know, so yes, I kind of overdid it on the studs for Indio, but I wanted to make sure that they are nailed down, and it'd be very inconvenient to try to steal these. So hence the reason why I have so many screws back there. The rest of the letters, you know, it's a single spray. If somebody does want to try to take these off, fine, we can make these again. But I wanted to make sure that Indio is going to put up a big fight for trying to, you know, do anti-theft. So hence the amount of screws. So don't think that I was just like, you know, man, what was he thinking? That's what I was thinking. Also, when it comes time to do this P right here for parking, I understand that, you know, trying to get this lined up perfectly so you can see where in the face I gave you generous slots. So we don't have to worry about it so much. But what I would do is make sure that you pass this on to, like, if we're just going to do a vinyl P after we paint, then that's fine. That's, you know, if we just put a white vinyl on the green once we're done, or if it is going to be a multi-step process where this P is going to be painted or it's reverse paint or whatever, either way, if it involves Gerber or vinyl, make sure you pass it on to the first shop that this is kind of like your level line. And so what I did is, as long as we're within this target and this actually just faces up and we're well within this area, then it doesn't have to be perfect. But I have these on a 45, and so you have a lot of adjustability. So that at least gets us into the ballpark. So make sure that whoever, whether it's Gerber mask but however that P gets on there, just make sure that P is kind of within sort of this realm. And then when you guys go to screw it on, you can kind of take a look at the front and twist it a little bit, and then you can nail it down. So patent pending on that, by the way. So, you know, so anyway, yeah, so you can see where you got that adjustability. So there's that. Also, I did you the solid of making sure that all of the letters are typical for all positions, except it will be confusing to see this N from Popo and the U for public. So they aren't identical, and I went ahead and made this mark on public. So look for that indent right here, and that'll let you know that's the U, and then that's not the N for department in fire department or police department or whatever. So anyway, so those are the only ones. Otherwise, don't worry about trying to keep these all separate from each other. This would be a crazy Scrabble nightmare. So just go ahead and get them all painted, and then you can mix and match in any position, any of those. Public parking is the same. Also, you have a little mark like we do because the N can be flipped. So there you go. Otherwise, everything is equal. Everything can go in every spot. Even the arrows are equal. You can flip them, slap them, you know, wax them down, whatever you want to do. But again, just making sure that this gets to first shop and give them the heads up to try to get it within this right here. So, and then you can adjust it later. So that'll be assembly. Obviously, leave time for assembly. I know we're probably going to be up against the gun on this, as we always are. But again, try to keep, because you do have a lot of flat cutouts to install. So, and for that reason, because there's so many of these, I figured we wouldn't do brass. We just go ahead and tap them. It'll be easy. I know it's a lot more work, but it was going to be expensive and a lot of brass to do the tap in. So let's just go ahead and do a regular tap. So anyway, so I think that's it. Again, I owe you that. We'll get going on that, but that's no reason that we can't get started on the project, start routing, get everything going. So, but I think that's it. If you have any other questions, hit me up.
Check the technique. Check the technique. See if